Good afternoon. Happy Friday. I know that a lot of people love to hear those words. Music to everyone's ears. How you doing today? Let's talk about stockpiling for a minute. Let's talk about the fact that a person could stockpile their groceries even if they're broke. Yeah. And that is no joke. And I didn't mean to rhyme. There you go. Seriously, we need to stockpile no matter what time of the year it is, no matter what circumstances are going on around us. Sometimes it's more urgent than at others, but isn't it better to err on the side of caution and have stuff ready as opposed to, I don't have anything ready. So even broke people could stockpile. Let me tell you something. We start small, build it up, build it up. Okay. Look, you could take a $20 bill. I kid you not. Okay. You could head on over to your local Dollar Tree type store or stores where you know you are already in the best position to get a better sale price. Could be, let's say, an Aldi store. I don't know. I don't have one of those near me, but I hear so many good things about that place. So I'm just saying, so start off with the basics. Let's try it with a $20 bill initially. Okay. And I would suggest strongly the following. All right. So, what I started to do, the first thing I did was I said, well, you know what, Jan? Go for the canned foods. And the first canned foods I went for canned soups, okay? Canned soups, canned meats, canned beans. Now, I like canned beans, like in a can, like a tin can that you open up. I'm not a huge fan of dried beans. That's me, except for there are exceptions. Okay. I do enjoy making my own lentil soup, but I don't consider it a bean. I consider it a legume, but I think it's kind of in that family or whatever. So, okay, so lentils for me, split peas, in the bag. So easy to make soups out of those. So cheap. Once a year, I crave split pea soup from scratch. But I tell you, it yields so very much. And of course, whatever is left over, guess what? Goes in the freezer. Okay. So I'm really, like, really doing very well with stuff like that. So basically, I started off with canned goods. It could be soup. Look for what is on sale that you and your family will eat. Just decorating a shelf or a closet or a box with things because it might be a great price, but your family doesn't eat it, you just wasted your money, in my opinion. All right. It'll keep you sustained, but you're not going to enjoy it. So why spend money on stuff you're not going to enjoy when you could get the stuff you do enjoy, but be patient enough to get the best possible price and look up online the best times of the year. Now, if you're under, pressure to build up your stockpile quickly, then just make a decision about getting whatever price it is, but still as best as possible, shop around. That's the trick. What is your budget? Can you afford to spend $10 a week on increasing your stockpile? And by the way, stockpile is not just the pantry. We oftentimes refer thinking, well, a pantry, a little closet, or a box, that's our stockpile. Yes, it's part of it. But please keep in mind that your frozen foods and stuff in your refrigerator and your active pantry, if you will, that's all included as part of your stockpile. So I began with canned stuff, okay? My favorites, all right? And I worked within my budget. I said every single time I have a grocery haul, I'm going to spend $10. That's what I did towards my stockpile. All right. So, the canned meats, by the way, did very well with me, I have to say. And canned fruit and vegetables, I'm telling you, not to mention the soups. All right. So the next thing that I was, concerned to get and start stockpiling was things like oats, oatmeal, rice. Not, I don't need 25 pound bag of rice. Janet doesn't need that. Okay. But Janet doesn't mind getting maybe a 4 pound bag of rice and keeping that and stuff of that nature. Um, Pasta noodles, and I consider ramen as part of pasta noodles. Any sort of a noodle or pasta, I consider that same category. So if you can go to the $1.25 store and get something that's that works for you, I find that the pastas that are in the clear bags in general in any store, okay, and I've seen them for like 88 cents at some other places, and I'll grab those. the clear bags, those types of pasta seem to work very well for me. I like both long pasta and the little ones. It all depends on what mood I'm in. Whenever I get like a box of, let's say, vermicelli, for example, that long, it's like spaghetti except thinner. I break that in half and I literally double my use. I'm not kidding. So before I pack it up and store it up, that is what I like to do. Also, I worked with dried cereal and granola bars, put them away. They last a while. Just, hey, something goes wrong or you don't feel good or you're not going to go to the grocery store, you want to skip a week or two, go shop your pantry. Nothing like it. It's snowing now. You don't want to jump in the car. You don't want to slip and fall. Hey, just, walk into your pantry. You know what? I'm going shopping in my pantry this week and I'm going to skip myself a week at the grocery store. Okay. Doesn't have to be a flood or a major thing going on. This is when it comes in really, really handy, especially those bone chilling days when maybe you want to sleep in that day, get an extra hour or two sleep, and then just wake up and say, you know what, I'm going pantry shopping today. Yay! Those are wins, I'm telling you. And buying foods of which you can put things together, such as like ingredients, okay? Flour, the basics, flour, pancake mix. With the flour, I mean, baking soda, baking powder, salt, all those things, vanilla extract. These are things you can put together and regenerate. Okay, but be sure when you get flour products to make sure that you put them in I believe the freezer. I always mix this up, the freezer or the fridge. I think either way will work, but don't quote me on that. Look that one up to make absolutely certain. Put it in the freezer or the fridge for, I guess, for what, a few hours or a day. Double check that. I don't want to steer you wrong, but that's to avoid cereal bugs, as I call it. All right, dried soups in a box. You know those boxes of dried soup? You can make chicken soup from it. It has the little noodles in it. I like to take that on a lazy night. Okay, and I call it a lazy night, like one of those box soup, those little pouches, and I will put it together per package direction, right? And I will add a scrambled egg to it, like an egg drop soup, that and a piece of toast and a piece of fruit. I am in soup heaven, comfort, and from start to finish, everything is said and done in minutes, like minutes. Okay, so you don't always have to spend tons of time on soup, but if you have extra things that you could throw in it, like leftover real chicken pieces of your own from the night before's dinner, and don't forget to keep those items if you didn't use them up. Throw them in that soup. Yum! Or any soup. I just happened to mention it. But those box soup mixes come in really, really handy. They don't take up a lot of space. They're not heavy to carry. And you see where I'm going with this. I like to always make sure I have my instant coffee. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't need to spend a ton of money outside of coffee. Okay. I could fancy it up. I could simplify it, whatever I want to do with it. And instant coffee is so convenient, especially if you just want one cup. Why do I have to make a whole a cup of coffee, a pot of coffee with 4 cups in it, if all I need at the moment in time is just 1 cup? You see where I'm going with this. Anything you could do and do it on the cheap and stock up on it is a winner, winner. Next, shelf stable milk, powdered eggs come in very handy. There was one time I had a really, really bad cold. This was a number of years back. Okay. And I didn't have a chance to get my fresh eggs, but I was craving eggs. I was craving eggs. Then the light bulb went off and it said, Janet, you can make your powdered egg scramble. It was good. It was totally fine. So it was nice knowing it was there, and I went to it, and I personally had no difficulty with it whatsoever. Now, this is important. Sometimes we get headache, like anyone else get a headache, or you know what I mean? And it's important to have your over-the-counter medicines, okay? So you don't have to go to the drugstore and buy 10 bottles of things. Get at least 1 or 2 pre-winter. Have it. Winter is its own story, okay? All right, so, well, I'm talking about like my territory here, okay, in the Northeast, all right? So we experience the 4 seasons. We feel the heat of the summer, spring is beautiful, autumn is great, but somewhere between middle and late autumn, it could be a bit rough, okay? And then we get into the throes of, da-da, I have to say, my least favorite month of the year. I admit it, even though it has the first three letters of my name, January. I'm not a fan of January. I am just not. Other than the holidays just finished up. But what there's only one thing I like about January. It is a clean slate. It is a new start. So I look at it like that. All right, always positive. Find the positive. But weather-wise, I am specific. January is a very funny month. I have experienced Januaries here in the Northeast that we get a freak day or two at 60, 70 degrees, which is amazing. Okay, I'm never going to complain about those. Okay. However, I've also experienced, okay, situations here in January where the temperature would feel like, oh, well, -5 or 10. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not fun. I'm telling you. So those are the days. Are those the days, especially on the weekend, when you want to roll out of bed? -5 degrees real feel temperature on a Saturday after working all week? Not really. I much rather roll out of bed and roll into my pantry and then just do my weekly shopping. I'm not kidding. I take a bag and walk in there sometimes. Have you ever done that? Let me know that in the comment section below. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, the importance of salt. Always have salt. You never know. Salt is good for so many reasons. Take a minute and look that up. But the over the counter stuff. Now you're saying, but Jan, we're talking about when you're broke. I did say, let's start with 20 bucks initially. Now, did you notice what I didn't mention? There's a lot I didn't mention. I ask you if you want to fill in the blanks and comment, please. But there's only so much time I could talk. One of the first things it's essential. You got to have water. You could actually live off your granola bars and your Slim Jims, you see where I'm going with that. But water, water. What if there's a water main break? Doesn't have to be a national catastrophe. You could have a water main break locally in your neighborhood. It could be winter, it could be spring, it could be summer. I know I've experienced all of these things, all right? It could be fall. Any time of the year, you could have a water main break, and guess what? Your local county or city or whatever borough shuts it off. Bye bye water. Yeah, you might be out of water a couple of days. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Been known to happen. Been known to happen while they're making their necessary repairs. I'm just saying. And then once it resumes, you got to let your water run through, and then they give you a boil water advisory. Isn't it nice to know that you have your water, fresh, clean drinking water? I'm talking about. You should always, always create and pack up some water for bathing, okay, or other uses, if you will, okay, hygienic uses, okay. I'm just saying that's a separate issue, but start with the basics, okay. Get your water. You could get the jugs of it are less expensive, cumbersome, but much less expensive than the bottles I've come to find. But if you could find the bottles on the cheap, get them. That's an essential. There's no negotiation. Water is an essential. There's no such as, well, think about it. No, we have to have water to survive. All right? All right. Listen, I just touched upon this, okay? Like touched upon this. But really, even low income people, or even if you're broke, could start your stockpile. It's not just a fun thing or a cute thing or a cool thing. It's a needed thing. And it's not only because we live in very unpredictable times, which we do. We really, really do. But you know what? When is it really predictable? The only thing predictable is how much we are prepared.